We have one more section for you today, which I'm going to zip through, but it's really exciting stuff. As you saw when Manisha presented the kind of overall scope of our work here at the outset of the presentation, the branding strategy for Van Dyke Avenue and for the overall master plan vision is part of our scope, and we're really excited to tie that together with the placemaking ideas. So we engaged our in-house environmental graphic designer, whose name is Michael Stout. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to join us today. He's very talented, very passionate about this kind of work, and he's put together some really interesting ideas for us. And he wanted us to start with just situating the importance of the role of a brand in terms of placemaking. And he pulled these two quotes for sure, that a brand is a promise a place makes with people. So it really sets the expectations for what you should expect to experience. And it can also be a way to align a community behind a common vision, which we certainly hope will be the case here once we finalize these materials. We hope this will provide a powerful tool for the community to come together and realize that vision. So there are a bunch of elements that are included in a brand, and some of which we will touch upon as part of our scope with Van Dyke Avenue. There's the visual ID, which is the logo itself, the color, the typography, kind of all the core elements of brand identity. Then there's the application of those in placemaking strategies, so things like art that is in line with the brand, the establishment of gateways, street furniture, those kinds of things. And then there's environmental graphics, which are signage and wayfinding. And you've seen some of this employed in the city's branding efforts, but there could be a specific approach for Van Dyke Avenue. So what Michael did is he took all of the input that we gave him, that the client team gave him, and all of the feedback we collected from the first community workshop, the follow-up survey, the opportunity mapping, and a few different other efforts, including the focus group sessions. And he pulled out the common words that we heard from folks, and he kind of boiled down the positive and the negative words to, in the case of positive, potential, open and accessible, universal and multicultural, and vintage and gritty. These are the ways that the community described Van Dyke Avenue themselves in a positive way. In a negative way, we're seeing inactive, old and outdated, car and truck dominated. So really no surprises there, but it gives us a little bit of a light shed on the path forward. Michael took a look at the existing condition of the corridor, some of the assets and the opportunities, the character of the sites that exist, whether they be the existing developments or some of the local art or some of the ways the city itself is branding different districts and areas, including in the top left, the Van Dyke limited branding material that was installed recently. He looked at some of the questions we asked in the first community workshop about the community's preferences for the future of the corridor. On a scale of historic to contemporary, the community largely said, you know, this is more of a contemporary place. In terms of rustic and clean, they said more on the line of clean. Traditional and playful, far more on the side of playful. So you see there's an overall trend that's being talked about here with respect to the future of Van Dyke Avenue. With some of this input, Michael was able to establish some branding values, as he calls them, and the three that we settled on that existed within a larger context of some of these virtues are inclusive, artful, and uplifting. This is a forward-looking place. And in addition to looking at the brand for the overall district, we're taking a look closely at how this could be applied to the sub-districts as well. So we're going to show you two concepts today. The first is called Modern Mosaic. Here you can see there's a triangular grid that was established, and this forms the kind of mark or the logo for the place, and it prevents a really flexible, colorful, and vibrant way of expressing the identity of this place and providing a variety of different applications to it. So you see the triangles here form the letters NVD, the kind of language that would be used for this would be North Van Dyke to describe the overall area. Here you can see it with some of the suggested typefaces. So this is designed to work in relationship with it. And again, this is trying to celebrate the kind of diversity, multiculturalism, and the vibrancy of the future corridor. Along with a mark and a overall strategy in terms of the triangular grid, we're thinking closely about colors. What can be used to tie into existing branding efforts like the citywide effort. You can see Sterling Heights blue up there at the top, and the blue-green was pulled also from your recent branding efforts. And then some complementary colors to round out the diversity of that palette and create some excitement. Here you can see how elements of the brand could be applied in different settings. So you could do a full color wash, solid color of the logo and the word marks, and it's flexible in that way. You could do a wireframe look, which would give it something of a modern, clean vibe, and it works well in grayscale or black and white as well. Here you can see the mosaic really starts to take the form of a motif. It can be used as a backdrop for a lot of things. It can be used on everything from signage to print material to paving patterns. Here you see some applications where it could be used for a mural. The logo itself could mark places. We threw it on a t-shirt to see what it would look like if folks wanted to walk around with this identity. They were just so proud. And then there are applications that could be employed for physical sculptural elements too that employ the brand identity. So it's flexible in that way, but loud and crisp. And then there are opportunities to use both the triangular motif as well as the colors and the logo itself to start to talk about the individual character of each of the districts. That was alternative one, and the idea was modern mosaic. We'll ask you for your thoughts on that after the second option, which is taking a closer look at the industrial and natural features of the site and how they can come together. So here you're seeing a slightly more high contrast alternative. This is employing a distinctly kind of mid-century vibe to it, really building off the identity of Sterling Heights, the time in which it came of age, the kind of industry that exists and thrives there, what it's known for. You can see with the orange and the blue segments, it's really starting to blend together those elements of industry and nature. The typeface itself, the typefaces, I should say, are modern and clean, and they, again, harken back to that kind of mid-century vibe with the trapezoidal shapes. And you can kind of subtly see some car insignia perhaps in there as well, which talks about the city's legacy. And making the future is the tagline there, thinking about the industrial nature of what can happen here. The badge, this was really interesting to Michael as an element that really exists at the intersection of industry and nature. You can think about badges on manufacturing employees, uniforms, or you can think of badges in terms of the Boy Scouts and the kind of nature rangers and things that collect them. And again, those colors can be used for different sub-district identities. The logo mark itself is kind of flexible. You can adapt it in a variety of ways by preserving the elements and keeping the overall look and feel. And again, we can apply different motifs that all fit within the same family to different sub-districts and different uses. We can even create an entire icon library built off this theme that can be used for various things across the neighborhood. And here you can see how that application might take shape in the form of a wall mural, a t-shirt, and a gateway structure that builds off that industrial theme. And here's potential applications for each of the sub-districts. So those are our two approaches to the branding. And we're really interested in hearing from you about these initial concepts. If you go to the Men's site again, if you're not still there already, and enter this in, keep in mind that these two are very early concepts. We're really looking for your feel about the overall look and the feel of it all. Do these kind of broad concepts and color approaches and kind of forms, do they capture you? Do they kind of resonate with you for the future of Van Dyke Avenue? And which do you like best? And please, while you're voting or thinking about this, feel free to chime in. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Add a little commentary to your multiple choice answer here. What do you guys think?
Hi, Nathan Inks, Planning Commissioner. I like the second one. I like how it tied in the industry with the Clinton River. To me, the first concept was a little bit too cluttered and a little bit too much going on. I kind of like the simplicity of the second one better.
Great, thank you. And good to hear your reasons why. Awesome. Anybody else?
This is Jerry Rowe from the Planning Commission. I likewise, concept 2, I think is more appealing, especially if we're going to be tracking young talent, millennials. I think they would aspire more to that the coloration that's there rather than. I'm sorry, am I on the wrong one? I'm at number 1. Excuse me.
Okay. Thanks for that, Gerald. That's interesting to hear. Good to clarify that it was number 1. Anyone else?
This is Henry Annis from Sterling Heights City Council. I'm a little taken aback by the use of the factory look / smokestack. I think we're trying to get away from the Rust Belt idea, and we're advanced manufacturing here in Macomb County. So I get the industry meaning of it, but I just don't like the smokestack.
That is a great point, Henry. I appreciate that comment. We'll convey that to Michael. I think we can certainly embrace the industrial idea without those past symbols. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next question, as we're going to get a little more specific with the feedback to these. So which elements did you like best? We just heard from Henry that the factory look maybe didn't work quite so well. Regardless of which option you chose, which elements of this did you like? Do you like the kind of clean, crisp triangles or the more traditional badge motif? What do you think? The simplicity, the cleanness, future orientation. Interesting. I like the more artistic. Yeah, we do have something of a contrast between the literal and the abstract. I wonder how folks feel about that. Great. We'll give you all just a few more moments to enter some thoughts. Okay. Now for our next question, what's missing? Is there anything that can serve as inspiration or that's critical to the identity of Van Dyke Avenue that we just haven't hit upon and should be explored further? I heard in the last question that people like the idea of kind of celebrating the river. So anything else like that that maybe didn't show up in these concepts? Mm-hmm. Tie into the city's branding theme. Yep, we're certainly conscious of the interest in doing that, and we'll be looking for ways to tie it in intentionally so it's kind of together they form a whole. People and innovation, love that. Where'd the Van Dyke name come from? Main Street design, sustainability, absolutely. Okay, great. Any last thoughts in here? Okay. What should absolutely be carried through in the future versions of this? So as with the streetscapes and the redevelopment alternatives, we'll be looking to shape a final recommendation for the brand identity. And I'm curious to know, our team is curious to know, what do you think is absolutely essential? Is it positively necessary that the river be included in the final design? Does it need to be something that references the industrial past and present? River industry diversity, great. River, bright and colorful, okay. Different from everywhere else in Sterling Heights, that's interesting. Like the geometric shapes. Let's be nice to our friends in Utica. Getting away from the old concept of the driving suburb, okay, good. Okay, great. I'll give folks just a moment to type in any last thoughts they may have here. This is the last question that we have for you, except as we are right at the end of time. But we are reserving some time at the end for Q&A of our team. We'll stay on the line and are happy to engage in further discussion with you about any of this and take any questions. Oh, actually, sorry, one more question. Don't leave us just yet. We have put some sliding bars here. There's a lot of conversation going on about what the right language is for the corridor. And, you know, it's been called a few different things over its past. And we're thinking very much about creating a substantial place here. And places often come with kind of names that you can recognize and that people can get behind. How do folks feel about these? So you should be seeing on your Mentimeter some slide bars that you can move around. Oh, there you go. Okay. Neck and neck between North Van Dyke Avenue and North Van Dyke River Districts. Okay.
Somebody wants to break the tie there.
Not quite a tie. So does someone want to tip the balance, really? Well, this is good to know. Certainly, this is not final by any means, but we are always curious to hear what the community has to say and we want to incorporate your feedback into what we recommend moving forward. So that, I can tell you, is officially the last question. Thank you so much for your participation. We're going to move on to a Q&A slide. Stick with Mentimeter. You can type in your questions if you have any, and we can address them one by one. You're also welcome to type into the comments box or just speak them out loud. That's been working just fine for this size of group. If you do have to jump off, we have used as much time of yours as we asked for, so we will say thanks so much for joining us. This is the last of 2 community work sessions or workshops for this project. We'll be spending the next couple of months finalizing the work, pushing forward all of your great ideas, and establishing what we hope to be an exciting vision for the future of the corridor. Okay, we have one question here. So what is the anticipated time frame for, let me just hide my Zoom thing here, long-term, 2030, 2040, 2050? Yes, so what we will be doing as we move this forward is answering exactly that question with some phasing guidance. We don't know exactly, of course, when things will take shape, but we'll give much closer assessments of the immediate time frame. And then we expect that the long-term time frame will be something in the order of the 2040, 2050 development timeline. Looks like we have another question. I hope there's an abbreviated presentation plan for the future City Council meeting. Yes, indeed. So as part of our scope of work, we will summarize everything that we're recommending as part of the final plan into as abbreviated a presentation as we're capable of. And that will be made available for members of the client team to present to the City Council.
To add to that, I would hope that you'd have a conversation with City Council, either in groups or, you know, one-on-one, to hear our thoughts on this proposal, especially since you already spoke with Utica.
Most certainly, yes. We are always eager to speak with those representing the community of Sterling Heights, and we will ensure that we talk with you before any of the work is finalized. No other questions? Well, we will stay on the line for a bit longer. Oh, here's one. Recognizing that this is a vision, we will be eventually deal with MDOT on the reconfiguration of Van Dyke. That's right, yes. So some of the detail that we discussed at the first work session, but just kind of skirted over on this work session, there are a variety of different public entities that have purview over the roads we're looking at, whether it be Van Dyke Avenue or Utica Road, or some of the local streets within the area. We are working with all of the different officials that are necessary to the process of envisioning the future of the roads. We've had a few conversations with the county, who are the direct owners of Van Dyke Avenue, and will have a lot to say about their potential reconstruction, reconfiguration. And we will be engaging with MDOT to talk about the things that they have oversight over as well. How are the comments on the map captured? Yes, so if you participated in our first work session, you heard about and hopefully had a chance to participate in the online opportunity map, which again, what we're trying to do in this era of COVID is replicate some of the most successful activities that we facilitate at in-person public workshops in a digital format so that they're still accessible and you can use them on your own time. We created a map where you could put a bunch of different pins on there of different kinds of uses and ideas. And as we mentioned in the presentation, those ideas directly informed the work that we did. You all had some really great ideas. As part of our scope of work, we are delivering to the city an existing or understanding the context document, which basically summarizes all of the feedback we received from the community workshops as well as our analysis. And so what we've done is we've reproduced that map and we've got all the comments keyed into it. So that'll be published in the final materials.
So Chris, can you confirm if this presentation, when we upload it for the community input afterwards, will have an interactive map for further comments?
Yes. So as I mentioned a couple of times, what we'll be doing is building a community pinup board. So each one of the slides that you saw in this show will be all pinned up as though it's on a big wall, and you'll be able to access that via your web browser, and you'll be able to drop sticky notes and comments onto it. So you can tell us your thoughts and give us any fresh ideas that you have that we should consider as we move forward. And we'll follow up via email with that and post that tool on the project webpage. Is there any other pre-development besides the Chaldean residential property? Well, I am not aware of any other development that is underway within our site area, though there could certainly be things that are taking shape that we're not aware of. And the city could probably answer some of those questions as well. Chris, I'm not sure if your office is aware of anything or can speak to anything, but we have not had further conversation about it.
What I could say is the Corridor Improvement Authority has been engaged in acquiring property to the extent possible, still looking at property in the corridor, because obviously to make a plan like this work, you have to control the property. So we're making some incremental steps in that regard.
Great, thanks for that, Mark. Okay, any other questions? Again, don't feel the need to type them. You can chime in and ask if you got it. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, then I think we can conclude for today. Again, thanks so much for your participation, and we look forward to continuing our work and presenting you all with something that you'll hopefully be excited about.
Thank you all for your great participation today.